Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Monday, February 2, 2026, and this right here, the thing that you have found, well, it is called the TNAM Daily Show. TNAM stands for the New American Media. On today's program, we're going to discuss the Epstein files. We're going to discuss, how about this? We are going to discuss a whole bunch of perspectives, a whole bunch of videos, a whole bunch of analysis, a whole bunch of different thoughts on what we're learning, what we're not learning, what's concerning. Does it feel like, what would it be like? Almost like once the water begins rushing through the hole in the dam and you can see the crack growing. It's inevitable what's happening. You cannot stop the force of that body of water behind that dam. The water has shot through a hole and you can see the crack spider webbing with every crack, every break, every branch, every expansion of that weakness. The entire structure gets weaker. And at some point, you know that little area in between is going to give way. That's what things feel like right now. Are you feeling that too? Type it in to the questions. Are you feeling like the dam is about to break? Stories that got us censored, stories that got us censored, banned, censored. Facebook, Instagram, Meta, Google, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. They did not like talking about certain stories. Which stories? Oh, buckle up. Buckle up. There's some weirdness going on. And I don't know what any of it is. I don't know how verifiable any of it is. So with discernment, we're going to take a listen to what people are saying, and we're going to have to kind of make do with that what we will. I can't believe you'd even talk about that if you don't even know it's true. Right. We're talking it through together. We're researching this together. Hey, did you see what people are talking about on this subject? What do we know? Is this verifiable? Does this feel unlikely? Does it feel false, fraudulent? Does it feel like I forgot to turn that light on? Yes, I did. So buckle up. This is going to be a big show. There's a lot of info to cover, especially after a long weekend. So we're going to talk about it. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, however you're watching the show. Share the show with the friends. Send it out on X. Text it to somebody smart. And just say, hey, we meet here and talk about the news. Come join us. Jump in the chat room. But question of the day, type it in the comments section. Do you feel as though the dam is about to burst? Does it feel inevitable what's coming? Is the storm here? There's no stopping it. And it's maybe another analogy. Over the past week or so, I've watched several videos of something. Someone places a cake on a doorstop on a stoop, a porch, a front porch, and it's icy, and they gently set it up there, and then it slides down, and then it goes down the stairs, and then it goes through the yard, and it just keeps going and going down it just disappears. People with their kids on a sled, they send them in, like they go so far, they're like, I don't even know where he's at. Like, you literally lose sight of the person. It feels like the grip, the icy claw grip that the demons have had on things. The grip is gone and they're sliding. It's done. That doesn't mean anything is done, but it means the storm is here. That's my question. Does it feel like the storm is here and there's no stopping it? Many of you for years have been promised, oh, things are going to happen. Oh, just trust me. Just trust. Hey, these guys, hey, they got stuff under control. And you go, it doesn't make any sense. You're letting all these people get away with all these things, and it's just ruining so many aspects of society that don't need to be this stupid, toxic, divisive, violent, intrusive, like all the bad things. Like, we don't need any of this shit. It's been a confusing system to figure out. Maybe this Epstein thing, maybe it connects a few of these dots. So let's jump in, start having an interesting conversation. Before we do, I'll just say this. The subject matter that's going to be peppered throughout this show is going to be pretty brutal, horrific, awful, etc., etc., etc. So maybe what we can do is, before we embark upon something important, a great undertaking, a beginning of something crucial or important or sketchy. You could say sketchy in some way. Maybe cast a cloak, a protective force field. Imagine like a bubble dome over us. I've been told or not told, but I've listened to people doing meditations, prayers, intentions, however you want to, incantations, to almost out of your pineal gland see like a light of energy shooting up out of the center of your soul, whether that's going up your chakras, out your pineal gland, connecting to a bubble dome of protection. I would ask that the creator of all of this experience that we find ourselves in gives us the emotional, spiritual protection that we need in order to consume this horrendous material without letting it damage our psyche in the efforts that we can expose all of the monsters and put them behind cages where they belong. In your name we pray. Amen. And see the protective dome form around you. Ask for that angelic support, the watchers, the messengers, the ones to keep a close eye on you, your person, you where you sleep, your homestead, your family, extended family, friends, your neighborhood, your city, your state, your country, your planet, your solar system, your galaxy. Keep a watchful eye over that while we try to do the right things. So with that, let's dig into the Epstein files.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you all so much for being here. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Marion, question of the day. Yes, I think the storm is here and the dam is leaking. All right. Storm is here. We just wrapped up a month of January. I want to thank everybody who made January our second best month on YouTube with the super chats, the donations into our guitar case. We stand at the street corner strumming the guitar, singing songs. And your tips keep us going. So thank you. Let's try to become the best month. December was the best. January was the second best. We've been monetized for 5 months now. So let's start the month strong. A reminder that you can become a subscriber on the YouTube channel and on the Rumble channel for the New American Media. I think it's like $5 a month, or there's different options. You just set it and forget it. And every month it's like taking one of those building block Lego pieces and you pop it down onto the base, the Lego base, the square that you have. What do they do in Pulp Fiction? And then it goes, pew. If you know, you know. Yeah, every subscription is another piece. You just pop. And so you build a perimeter around the edge of it. And you start building your wall. That's what those YouTube and Rumble monthly subscriptions are. We have people on both platforms that subscribe to us, and we're asking for more. If it's something you'd consider, it's a set it and forget it. I mean, at $5 a month, it's like $60 a year. It's like, you know, for less than a cup of coffee. Also, thank you to everybody who's on Patreon. Those monthly Patreon subscriptions are crucial as well. They're monthly building blocks. But yeah, Rumble rants and super chats are great ways to support this program. We don't do ad reads at this moment in time. I take a moment to tell you about the infrastructure that we have and how appreciative we are that we're building these direct support networks that don't rely on YouTube or Rumble specifically. Patreon, we've heard they've taken accounts down from time to time. So some of the direct ways at the bottom of the screen here, these are pseudo foolproof, maybe not exactly, but on PayPal, we're fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. That's the email address. It's just scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You can pause it at any time. Cash App is my name, Brian Engelman, and Venmo is my name, Brian Engelman. Thank you to the $100 donation that came in with no message last week. Very, very appreciative. You know, if we get 50 of those a month or the equivalent, you know, you got a break even point. You have a balance bar. You have a balance moment. But yeah, I mean, we have it coming in through direct donations, through monthly subscriptions, Rumble rants and super chats. And it's also appreciated. Yeah, I need to get the Rumble crypto wallet somehow. I don't know how to do it. That's what the delay is. So I need to dedicate some time. Here, I'm going to circle it on the to-do list. I know it's important. I just don't know how to do it. So I don't know. I do what I do really well, having to do everything. There's areas that you get a little paralysis through analysis. I definitely encounter that. But I digress. It is nice being able to make sure that we cover what we want to, and we don't have to push a particular agenda one way or another. It's not really my style. And really, when you start getting sponsors and such, when you get advertisers, you will get people nudging you. Hey, don't say this, don't do that, take that down. And it's not the best. Not the best. Let's go ahead and pull up chat here. Who's this? Code is face. Feeling pretty schizo that it's not being talked about right now by everyone. Well, here's the thing to know. A lot of what we're seeing now is unverified stuff. Claims, tips, ramblings, rantings, emails that don't quite make sense, emails that are talking in code, things that are obviously untrue, things that are probably likely true, but not enough to convict of anything. And of course, then you say, well, where are the videos? You saw the confiscation. So like, that's a whole second part of this. The rollout has been painfully slow, somewhat redacted in places that we don't want it to be redacted. And even a loose association with this creep is enough to ruin somebody's life. And so you have a situation now where Russell Wilson, he's on the list. Russell Wilson's a creep. He's on the list. Get him. Okay. He signed a massively lucrative NFL contract and inquired to purchase a plane. But Epstein had a plane and something about a plane and somebody who had a hangar or somebody who sold a plane once and it wasn't the same one and he didn't go anywhere. But he's on the list. He's on the list. To get him, he's on the list. Can't believe you're protecting Trump. He's on the list. What does that mean? He's on the list. What the fuck does that mean? He's on the list. Sorry, that's not directed at you. It's just the general frustration of, in some ways, the more we learn, the more we realize Trump was like, what do you want us to do with all this? Where are we supposed to go with this? What does any of this prove? Now, some of the Bill Gates stuff, you go, oh, that totally tracks with his divorce. Oh, and that totally tracks with that creep wanting to secretly put stuff into our food supply, our water supply, our skies. Fuck that guy. I don't know if it's true, but it tracks. So I think we just need to urge a little bit of caution while we unpack this stuff. At the same time, when we start reading all these coded emails, it brings you back to some other stories. Wait till we get to what Nicki Minaj dropped on Grammy night. Also, did you see Jelly Roll rebuking in the name of Christ some of what's going on in that city? There's one of my favorite songs, Garth Brooks, Unanswered Prayers. You know, there were times that I had really wished that I had become an agent in Los Angeles. I was working at the world's largest talent agency, and it was not a situation that worked for me. I didn't become an agent there. I left and then started taking on some small acts right around the time the economy crashed and people weren't going out with disposable income. So I sort of changed my scope and focus. I was promoting and booking shows, but you know, I think sometimes we need to give thanks and say thank you to things that we maybe wanted. Places we didn't go, things we didn't participate in, things we did not, you know, I didn't go down the path to end up at the Grammys yesterday, but I was working at the world's largest music agency, talent agency. People getting off the elevator all the time. I mean, it was just a who's who of everybody right there in Beverly Hills. In a previous version of me, really, you know, I sort of built for that. I would have theoretically been awesome at it, I think. But would I have had to sell my soul along the way? Maybe overtly, maybe covertly, maybe this or that. I don't know. I remember being asked one day by somebody there, Engelman, is that Jewish? I said, no, not yet. What an odd thing to give a shit about. I've never really cared much about what version of the flying spaghetti monster someone's into. Now, that is, as long as they're not trying to push it on me or change my country or force that upon the people I care about in my city, state, or country. But yeah, I was watching that Jelly Roll interview. We'll play a clip here. You know, things could have gone very differently 100 different ways. The TV show that I had, multiple meetings with BBC, like at the time of Trump versus Hillary, 2016. They brought up politics. You should have seen the look on their face when I told them it's pretty obvious choice here. No, you don't vote for Hillary Clinton. Not at all. Not even close. You would have thought, I don't know, that I was purple, that I had 7 heads growing out of my neck, the way that they looked at me. And I was close. I was close to look, it was Hollywood. It was Los Angeles. You're like right in the thick of it, especially with entertainment, with live events and promoting and things. It's a world that I lived in. I was swimming with the sharks. And so maybe some of the things that didn't pan out during that time didn't pan out at that time for a reason. And if that's the case, then thank you. But I've always felt compelled to talk about the things that I talk about, stories that need more attention, and they're being gatekept by pretty bad people for pretty bad reasons. And I'm still doing that, except I'm doing it on my terms. So don't feel pretty schizo, Code's face. Don't feel schizo. This is an intentionally schizo thing we're trying to make sense of. But that's what we're doing. We're going to dump. We call ourselves the trash pandas. We dump the trash upside down. We rifle through the rubbish, separating fake news from fact. Okay? Yeah, Marion, the dam is leaking. Let's see. Code's face reminds me of 9/11 and how what happened took us all captive. We lived it in real time. Oh yeah. Generational trauma. I mean, that was a trauma bond. Well, but I mean, here's another one. You want to say that what's happening now is potentially more damning. Well, yeah, when you get into, Lord, you protect the good parts of our souls today. Well, we got to dig through the rubbish and some hazardous materials, some hazmat, some do not touch, radioactive stuff. That's exactly what this Epstein feller is up to. Maybe they're connected. If you know, you know. Let's see, like Leon, because both sides are fighting with and against Trump once again, same as before. Yeah, so I guess that's a good point for the people that, to say they're all in it together. I just don't think they are. Not a single attempt on Barry Obama's life. And I prayed for his protection so that he could be found guilty of treason by a military tribunal, a jury of his peers, whatever the mechanism turns into. I did not want to see anything like Butler happen to Barry Obama. Barack Obama is what I mean. Barry Soetoro. I'm not talking about burying Obama. I think he's been the ringleader of something very dark for a couple of decades. His influence and destruction cannot be understated, but I prayed for his protection so that he couldn't be martyred into something different. I think if you lay some of this stuff out on the table, you're going to find. But it also feels like it's happening. From Tulsi Gabbard, director of national intelligence, going into Georgia and seizing all the election apparatuses. Is a hippopotamus or just a really cool opotamus? All right. It just feels like the grip, the stranglehold has been broken. It feels like the claws have come out of the ice and that person is just sliding down, going faster and faster on a sheet of ice. It's over. The grip, the power that they used to have is done. And it's just a matter of watching it play out. I felt like the past 2 weeks, last week especially, I felt something organic happen. I felt something that gave me a little bit of hope, if not expectation, hope. And let's go through it. Yeah, things are being said. Lake Leon says Rudy Giuliani went through all the Trump drama this morning. Nothing to see as far as Trump. Yes, his name is mentioned, but when you ask people about if Trump was on the list, they automatically puts his name in play. Like saying if Godzilla was on the list, of course it will be now. It was mentioned. All right. Let's share the Instagram for the New American Media. Make sure you're following us. We need a few more followers on our Instagram for the New American Media so that we can stream live. I got to figure out how to make that work, but I'm going to try. All right, let's go through this stack of stories here. Now, what is this? Turning Point UK. Not following them, but I will. Christians banned from marching in Tower Hamlets. Shut down Oxford Street instead.
Holy Eucharist, through thy joys, through thy glory, Lamb of God, who takest away the sins of the world, spare us, O Jesus. Lamb of God, who takest away the sins of the world, graciously hear us, O Jesus. Lamb of God, who takest away the sins of the world, Holy Eucharist.
Something very strange has happened in Europe over the past couple decades, right? In 2016, Trad West says, here were my politics in 2016. Don't tread on me. Politics in 2026.
You are sons of those who murdered the prophets. You serpents.
You serpents. The son of those who murder the prophets.
You brood of vipers.
You brood of vipers.
How will you escape being condemned to hell?
Kind of like, had enough?
You will have no choice but to follow the law of Moses.
What is that from? Do you know what this is from? It's from some Jesus movie or TV show.
I am the law of Moses. I suppose I have not seen enough.
Yeah, I don't know what this is from. Actually, I'll just type that. What is this TV or movie clip about Jesus from? I don't know. Yeah, people's politics have definitely changed. Right here, this meme speaks 1,000 words. Bill Gates, the accusation, and once again, let me be crystal clear in all of this. I'm talking about what is being accused. I don't know any of this provable, slanderously, libelously. I'm making up words now. Bill Gates allegedly contracted STDs from Russian hookers and brought them back and spread them to his wife. And he was begging for some sort of drug, some sort of pill, some sort of chemical cocktail that he could sneak into her food so she could treat the symptoms of some STD he brought back, to medicate her and violate her body a second time without her approval. You want to talk about creep? This meme is pretty, it just sort of sums it up. I think I meant to post this on Instagram as a standalone picture. Yeah, just like a date rapist would drop a roofie inside of a martini or a cosmopolitan. That's Bill Gates shooting his shot, trying to sneak some stuff into Melinda's. Whew. I mean, serious mistakes were made, says Bill Gates. If he's willing to secretly drug his own wife, imagine what he's willing to do to us. So there's one of the accusations. Thomas Massey says it was not a hoax. I cannot be bullied. I am not done. And this is why those in power are doing everything in their power to defeat me. Now, this is a weird one because he's sort of at odds with President Trump. So does Massey know or think that he knows something that will take Trump out? Why is Trump actively going after Thomas Massey? Why did Marjorie Taylor Greene leave? Why did Matt Gaetz? Why is he gone? Who's the guy in the wheelchair? Madison Cawthorn. He says he was at these orgies and parties, and it's all just get you gotcha stuff. Get you hooked to the lifestyle, get you blackmailed, and then you just play ball. Get you in there, get you compromised right away, either through bribe or through deed. So I don't know. Thomas Massey follows the New American Media, which is pretty great. but I'm trying to understand what the rift is about. Don't know, but I'll be watching. Doc Holliday. All right, so here's Epstein stuff. I have no idea of proving if any of this is true or not, but let's talk about it. Seth, here's one of these emails to somebody we can't see, copying Epstein from somebody we can't see. Seth, we should explore the biological consequences of time travel. It would be amusing to calculate the rate of evolution of a population or a mutant that can travel in time. Huh? Well, let's see what Anthony Graffeo, let's go down the rabbit hole of this stuff, because most of these things are so, there's rampant speculation. There's fantastical ramblings. And by the way, just because something is strange or unfamiliar doesn't make it untrue. I've spent decades studying time travel and the other realms, the multiverse, simulation theory, ancient aliens, all this stuff. I'm fascinated by these topics. In fact, I wish I could devote, I don't need to wish, I could choose to change my content and do a show that's a little bit more focused on those topics instead of the day-to-day current events that get twisted for political gain. But just because there's some ramblings that don't make sense doesn't mean something's untrue. Let me tell you that. But just because something's written doesn't make it true. So we're going to approach it that way. David, hello, David, says, seems most of them are compromised. Oh, a whole bunch. Code's Face says, curious, what is the political alignment of your channel? I would ask the commenters, question of the day, answer this for Code Face. What would you say is the political alignment of this channel? Also, look, every day we unpack stories, and I just react how I react. If I'm hardwired to see things one way, hardwired to see them the other way, that starts to come through over time. But also, I'm calling balls and strikes. I can watch a football game that my favorite team is not playing, and I can still say, yep, that was a fumble. Nope, his hand was moving forward. I can still be a judge in the game. I can still be a color commentator. I try to, at least. So Anthony writes here on the side, Epstein mentions time travel in his emails. Did he receive the technology from Trump's uncle, John G., from the Tesla files? That's a lot in that first sentence. And if you know, you know. We thought the good guys had the technology for the Q-op with Operation Looking Glass. But now, knowing what we know, that Epstein frequented 4chan on POL, on poll, I don't know what that means, and that 4chan leaks proved most posts came from Tel Aviv. Was it Epstein the whole time doing the posts? What? Now they're saying Epstein was Q? Was it Epstein the whole time doing the posts, using quantum computing to predict timelines and creating the mass psyop, which was Q? This is why Candace mentioned time travel and that Charlie was a time traveler. If you haven't seen the Netflix show Dark about time travel, I highly suggest watching it, especially knowing now about this Epstein thing with the time travel. In the show, they kidnap kids and use them for time travel. It's a very deep, detailed show. Okay, I guess the Netflix show is called Dark, not Dark about time travel. I haven't heard about it. Okay, people are loving that show Dark. Have you watched the show Dark? I'm not familiar with it. Here you go. Barron Trump's marvelous underground journey. Ingersoll Lockwood. Barron Trump's marvelous underground journey. You got Gollum. You got a angel or a spirit guide or a, I don't know what, and a dog. Are you familiar with that? Barron Trump time travel book. Candace Owens, do you know about the CIA's Project Looking Glass? A fascinating device. Read Stolen Ancient Technology, wherein they were able to look into the future. I now find myself pondering how Charlie knew with such certainty he was going to die young and that the event would change the world. Is this from the show Dark? I don't. Okay, I guess we might as well just let this play out since they're all talking about the show Dark. Have you seen the show Dark? I haven't watched it, but I mean, it's X-Files stuff. It's Coast to Coast AM stuff. All right, I don't know. AF Post. In a 2009 email to Jewish American academic Roger Schenck, Jeffrey Epstein disparaged non-Jews and bragged about profiting from financial speculation, claiming success by shorting shipping futures, while Goyim bore real economy risks. This is the way the Jew make money and made a fortune in the past 10 years, selling short the shipping futures, let the Goyim deal in the real world. They're saying that is a quote from Jeffrey Epstein to Roger Schenck, October 2009. Yeah, anyone that would, what is the term? The term Goyim. It literally means nations or peoples. Over time, it came specifically to mean non-Jews or Gentiles, people outside the Jewish nation. It's unrelated to claims of cattle or dehumanization. Wow, Grok is saying those are common anti-Semitic distortions and misinterpretations of Hebrew texts. This is very slanted. In fringe online spaces, Goyim appears in anti-Semitic memes. The Goyim know, used by white supremacists to mock. This is an awful. To mock supposed Jewish conspiracies, but that's a weaponized, ironic misuse. I'm just going to say this is a heavily slanted definition. It can carry derogatory or condescending tone depending on context, speaker, and listener, similar to how some ethnic terms feel dismissive. Some dictionaries note it as often derogatory, while Jewish sources, Chabad Orthodox Union, emphasize it's not inherently insulting in scripture or casual use. Oh, like the N-word. Though non-Jews sometimes perceive it that way. Okay. Kind of like the N-word. Oh, that's Epstein. I don't know. I think the modern question of the day for Goyim, Goyim. Type it in the comments. Question of the day, Goyim. Yeah, David says, just read the Talmud and you will know how they feel. Do you find the term Goyim to be a slur, a slander, a dehumanizing phrase? Or does it just mean Gentiles? Because if you want to say Gentiles, say Gentiles. Do you find the term Goyim to be offensive and that it carries a negative connotation? Epstein talking with, it appears to be a high degree of Jewish supremacy. If you feel that the term Goyim, look in this context, that's the way the Jew make money and have a fortune in the past 10 years, selling short the shipping futures, let the Goyim deal in the real world. Yeah, let the animals deal with the trash. We'll eat the steaks, throw them the bones. We don't care. Let those little weasels do weaselly stuff. It seems very Jewish supremacist if you take this email to be accurate, if it is accurate, which I don't know. Alonzo Germendi says, my God, they're all pedophiles. We are ruled by pedophiles. The Calendar Girls one. Yeah. Accusation. Now, where is the deep dive into what this is? Okay. Okay. One of my posts debunks this. I don't want to read it out of order. Let me see. It is going to be out of order because I don't have them side by side, unless it is. Unsubstantiated, unverified allegations that do not hold up as any proven fact. A businessman, George Horaney, did pageant-related events. For more than 24 adult women, calendar girls, meaning models or pageant contestants, not minors, were flown in. A private viewing competition among the two men. One related allegation, 97 lawsuit that was settled, dropped. One related allegation came from Jill Harth, Horaney's then girlfriend. Settled and dropped. Misconduct. Nothing alleged about minors or trafficking or anything involving calendar girls. Trump denied those claims. FBI summaries, tips, hotline calls, unverified complaints submitted by the public. These are secondhand, anonymous, or sensational claims. Raw, uncorroborated tips, not investigated evidence or findings of wrongdoing. Okay. That's probably the point to mention there. Raw, uncorroborated, unconfirmed, not investigated evidence, not findings of wrongdoing. Random, discombobulated darts thrown. Slurs hurled. Accusations, unfounded, unproven. Many late tips were dismissed internally as sensationalist or untrue. No evidence in the file supports any criminal activity by Trump related to Epstein. Trump has never been charged or accused in any Epstein-related criminal case. Okay. Let's see. Then a claim a 13-year-old and some girls went missing, rumored to be emmed and buried at the president's golf course. If he doesn't get impeached for this unverified, uncorroborated, then the U.S. experiment is gone. His ex-wife, the one that accused him of R, was buried in his golf course. Well, that part is true. Bill Gates caught an STD from a girl Epstein hooked him up with and wanted Epstein to get him antibiotics to slip to his wife without her noticing. These MFers are insane. Zito says Elon was begging to visit Epstein's island. He had an assistant asking and following day after day. Oh, Mehdi Hassan. I do not like this guy. It's amazing to me Musk had the sheer gall to tweet that the bomb was that Trump is in the Epstein files, knowing full well that he was in there too. These people are astonishing. No shame, just zero shame or self-awareness. Yeah, this one, though, Jeffrey Epstein allegedly sent an email to somebody and says, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." That one might have the biggest highlighter question mark. What the fuck is this? Okay, I think I was sharing this one for that one clip. I got, let's see. Not seeing many Muslims or trans people in the Epstein files. Just a lot of rich, cis white men. There's no such thing as a cis white man. There's a man. Yeah, so Kash Patel said there's no credible information that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked minors. Epstein reportedly ordered 30 separate DNA test kits from 23andMe, enough that the company itself reached out to ask why. 30. Huh. Oh, this one. If this is what they decided to release, the still unreleased files must contain cosmic levels of horror and evil. Ian Smith, imagine if everyone came together and protested for the arrest of all implicated in the Epstein files and the full and unredacted release of all information. What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? A couple of years. What's this number one comment from the person that put this out? Epstein files confirm Pizzagate is real. Hollywood, even just saying that, that was a topic we weren't even allowed to mention for 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, however long it's been out. 10 years now. Oh, that was a major moment when our account got throttled, censored, shadow banned. Still probably suffering from legacy. I reached out to somebody that put out an interesting piece of content. He's like, "What's up, my man? I charge for collaborations. Do you have a budget?" I laughed at him. I'm like, "No, I won't advertise your stuff then." That message just popped up. It's kind of funny. But yeah, when we were covering that topic, it's one of the worst stories out there. How does anyone know who hasn't been arrested without a big show? Sean Ryan says everything is and was a lie, all of it. I hate to say I told you so, but all right, Thomas Massey. All right, bit of a deep dive from this guy. New news updates for real. What's this guy's name? John Weiber.
Just one of the biggest videos I've ever made, potentially, and I would never unalive myself. So there was this email. It says,
yeah, I want to play this. I just hope that generic music in the background isn't going to get me busted. But take a listen because the content is here. If I got to delete the music behind it, I believe that's an option I can do.
"Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Now that's coming from Jeffrey Epstein. It was censored who he sent that to. But whoever it was said, "I am in China," right? What day was that? That was in April of 2009, right? Huh. Well, this guy, he was in China in April of 2009. Schmenjman. Sat in Sasu. Yeah. What's it say there? And in the U.S., I'll be in the U.S. second week of May. I bet he wasn't, though, was he?
They're talking about BB. I don't know if this is true, but this is what this guy is saying about it.
Holy shit, he was.
And by the way, that's a whole lot of characters for an email address. If that includes the name, that's a long name. Don't know.
Damn. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Wow. I'm sure this is one of the biggest videos I've ever made, potentially, and I would never unalive myself. So there was this email. It says
the whole operation goes back through Epstein to CIA to Mossad, or it doesn't. Maybe it's all just a coincidence.
Hey, look, if you don't want to lose your mind,
This is good advice. If you don't want to lose your mind,
don't look at any of this Epstein pile stuff at all. But if you do want to go down the rabbit hole, beware. It's pretty Old Testament demon type stuff. That's the PG version. I don't know what's real and what's false. You know, a lot of it might be misdirection. A bunch of it might be propaganda. I'm falling for it left and right, obviously, because it's absolutely horrific. Maybe that's the denial. Maybe that's what they're hoping for. They've got me in a pretzel. Look, all I know for a fact is it's not good. And we were told that this didn't exist. Not great. So I'm going to go make sure my mags are fed, change some batteries, and read my Bible. And cry. Okay, wait, side note. You know what's even more worrisome to me is like the timing of all these files dropped with the unrest, Iran. There's a heavy implication of a certain country, our greatest ally. Ghislaine Maxwell's father, this is confirmed, purchased the publishing company for all of the textbooks for the American public school system back.
is it Houghton Mifflin, was it?
In the 80s? Ooh, I don't like that. Okay, my bad. Too far down the rabbit hole. I need a full refresh. I'm going to play some Battlefield. I might drink a Guinness. Might order a pizza. Here we go, back in the hole. Hey, look, if you don't want to lose your...
Prepare yourself accordingly. David, about the Fulton County, they knew the raid was coming. Yeah, did you give them enough time to cleanse the timelines and stuff? I don't know. I don't think they were smart enough to. Who is this? Kevin Gates. I don't know who this is, but he's talking candidly. Kevin Gates. But Sterling Sharp. Was this the hidden protocol? This is sort of the shepherd energy that's entering the zeitgeist right now. Do you feel this too? This is Kevin Gates.
If somebody molests my daughter, you gonna die. Or I'm gonna die trying, but I'm very resourceful. But if you touch one of my children, you're gonna
die. I accept these terms.
Damn, Kev, you said like you proud of that.
I am.
Kev.
You touch a kid, you're supposed to die.
You touch a kid, you're supposed to die, he says.
Straight up.
Kev, but that's not your purpose. That's not your...
Cool.
I thought we were going to let him handle that.
I thought you'll let God handle that. And by the way, that's an interesting point. There's a lot of non-Christians who want to tell Christians what it means to be a Christian. There's a lot of non-Christians that want to point at your Christ and try to make you weak and say that you're not allowed to defend yourself and you can't do this and you can't do that. I sort of contend that you can do whatever you want. Selectively picking and choosing particular lines, scripture, dogma, etc., so that you can be weak and conquerable, so that you'll be quiet and permissive. Don't let anyone play that game with you. I've called out a few people doing it. And I said, yeah, I'm good. I don't need any non-Christians preaching to me about what it means to be a Christian. And by the way, everything they preach it's a sit down, shut up. It's almost like the Obama doctrine for 20 years. Hey, we'll call you bad names. We'll drag you through the mud. The Biden DOJ, we'll come after you. We'll target you. Sit down, shut up. And by the way, feel guilty, feel ashamed to be who you are. Feel ashamed of your country, be ashamed of your skin. Nah, I'm good. No, I'm not going to take any brainwashing, mental abuse from people who stand to benefit. Thank you very much. But Shannon's like, isn't this between, sort of like, let God handle it? And he's like, no, man.
Who? Boy, God ain't put me here to be.
God ain't put me here to be a pussy.
God, give me the strength to make sure this nigga, man, I'm gonna stand over and give him everything I got. God, please let him be stretched. Because sometimes you give him everything you got, and they, you know, God don't take his hand off him. But if God take his hand off him, that feet going up in that air.
That's shepherd energy. Shepherd energy activated. Got to watch the flock. This post, just realized Dick Cheney isn't even on the files. He just did all that for the love of the game. Dick Cheney isn't even in the Epstein files. He just did all that for the love of the game. Hey, here's a reminder. 20 years ago, Democrats were making sense on the border. I don't even recognize who these people are from the 2000s.
Marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that.
I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. I'm a Christian by choice. The precepts of Jesus Christ spoke to me in terms of the kind of life that I would want to lead. If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up.
The Obama administration has deported an unprecedented 2.4 million illegal immigrants between 2009, when he took office, and 2014. That was the last year data was available. The Obama administration has deported more people than any other president's administration in history.
I think the American people, they appreciate and believe in immigration, but they can't have a situation where you just have 500,000 people pouring over the border without any kind of mechanism to control it.
It turns out capitalism is alive and very well. We're making serious progress to ensure that it works the way it's supposed to work.
I actually believe that capitalism is the greatest force for prosperity and opportunity the world has ever known. And I believe in private enterprise, not government, but innovators and risk takers and makers and doers.
Marriage is between a man and a woman.
I don't even recognize, actually, that's what I can't even recognize those versions of Biden and Barry. Politicians will say whatever to get votes. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, is that changed, though. That political party has changed immensely. Thanks, Obama. Yes, exactly. That's a running joke. Thanks, Obama. Reminder, hit like, hit subscribe, share the show. Gunther Eagleman says, I don't get it. Our GOP has the majority in the House and the Senate and a president with a pen in his hand, ready to go. Yet Congress refuses to stop the fraud or pass basic election laws. It's all too obvious the uniparty is real. I mean, shit. How could you, what do you need, 60 votes in the Senate? The House passed it, but they don't think they can get past a simple majority, so they're not even going to try. How could a Democrat not support voting measures to protect the sanctity of the vote? Are they all in on the steal? Are they all trying to make it easy to rig their system. Code's face, they give in to the crazies and they leave rational thinkers partyless. Yeah. Yeah, this upcoming election in November is going to be interesting. There's a lot of rhinos infecting the Republican Party. I think the MAGA party is probably better suited. The Democrats have been completely taken over by the Marxist wing, the communist wing, the globalist wing. It's like a strange, it's pro-gay, but it's pro-Islam. It's a very strange pile of ingredients. They don't, nothing wrong with well, I don't think it's going to make the cake they think it will. But yeah, stopping fraud and passing basic election laws, everybody should be behind that. I gotta take this, go side by side. That's what I'm trying to go for. Almost. There we are. All right. Jay. Who is this? I'm not following this person. President Trump arrested Jeffrey Epstein in term 1. President Trump released 3+ million files related to Jeffrey Epstein. President Trump shut down Joe Biden's human trafficking operation at the border with 400,000 missing kids at the border for Biden's term. President Trump did this in Trump's term 2. That's worded weirdly. President Trump found over 100,000 of those missing children so far in term 2. President Trump has arrested over 1,700 child predators this term. No president in American history has done more to combat child trafficking than President Trump. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Just let's get all the perspective. So what's this guy? Here's a Long Beach mayoral candidate, Rogelio Martinez, going full traitor mode. Check this one out. Long Beach. I used to promote shows down in Long Beach.
My name is Rogelio Martinez. I am calling all 55 gangs in my beautiful city. I expect a gang leader from every gang, all 55 gangs, and I'm not going to name them by name, but I'm calling the Latino gangs.
So let me read them by name.
I'm calling the Cambodian gangs.
I will read them by name. Not the actual name, just their demographic name.
I'm calling the Filipino gangs. I'm calling the black gangs. I'm calling the Pacific Islander gangs. I'm calling all gang leaders to meet me right here, Long Beach City Hall, this coming Monday. Why Monday? Specifically, I need you to be here to meet me in person to take back this city. Because our leadership is not doing anything about it, and our police are powerless. Once again, let me be very clear.
All right, you were clear. We'll see how that goes. Keep your eye peeled on this guy in Long Beach.
They
Anthony Frisella, get real about what's happening.
are going to conquer the fucking country.
They're coming to conquer the country. Are you going to roll over and let it happen or not?
They are going to remove every single person who is a threat to their ideology.
It's warfare. It's coordinated. It's active. It's happening now.
This is what communists do.
Everywhere communists go, they destroy. They're like a batch of locusts.
You do not understand that. You are not well read on history. There is no negotiating.
No negotiating. There's conquering, defeating.
These people are all in. Have we not seen evidence of this? Did
we watched a ton of evidence of this over the decade.
we not hear them cheer when Donald Trump almost got killed?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we heard that. They want that to be us. President Trump famously said, they're not coming for me. They're coming for you. I just happen to be in the way. One of the best things he ever said, one of the best lines. They're coming for you. But they're going after him first. He just happens to be in the way of you.
Do we not see them laugh when Charlie Kirk got killed?
Or how many people in your life, did you have people get mad at you when their side assassinated Charlie Kirk? Sometimes when a person's evil is revealed, maybe they were laughing and thinking Charlie got what he deserved because they secretly think you should suffer the same exact fate. And they lash out at you when you point out to them how evil they are. That happened to me. The communists are coming.
Do we not see them laugh every single time something happens to someone on the other side?
Over and over and over again. Almost no humanity.
But then when something happens on their side,
Minneapolis situation,
it's fucking the world's biggest fucking tragedy.
Oh yeah, and we got to talk about it 24/7 and just keep hammering it home. We need to find a way to break the spell of the people who are watching MSNBC and CNN unironically. There are people out there that feel that way, who feel they're just getting played. They're getting manipulated by these networks and the Democrats. We got to find a way to break the brainwashing.
Fuck that. They are.
Yep. Anyway, I like that point, but I had to keep pausing it because there was music in it, and they play sneaky little tricks with their music to demonetize your content. All right, Florida Congressman Corey Mills giving a speech, and there's somebody standing up and saying, "No, I want to make your press conference about me."
By the way, I just want to say this. I have one quick thing, and I'll let you disappear, leave, whatever you'd like to do now. Ice, baby.
Oh, fuck you. You're a piece of shit.
Ice, baby.
Fuck you.
By the way,
I mean, imagine being so brainwashed you would vote for the people invading America. That's just brutal. That's Florida Congressman Corey Mills, Ice Baby. You know, this is an interesting point when people want to make claims and they're unsupported. It is our right to push back. I mean, to verbally.
Of the hundreds of thousands of
Just
people
one.
that get legally deported,
Just
I
one.
don't need to name you one fucking name. Go educate yourself.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot today. No one can back up with examples or proof anything that they're claiming.
It's not my job to educate you.
Actually, it is your job. That's called the burden of proof, which means if you say that somebody's wrong, it is now your job to prove to them why they are wrong. Imagine, for instance, that a teacher tells you this is what the answer is, and you ask them, how do you know that's the answer? And they tell you, I don't know, figure it out for your fucking self, dumbass. That'd be a really shit teacher that probably shouldn't have opened their mouth to talk about a subject in the first place, right? If you are the one with all of the answers, if you are the one who knows for a fact that you're right, then you should easily be able to reference the point that you're talking about. If you believe something is truly happening, then that means you know for a fact, and you have the facts to back it up. It is nobody's responsibility to prove your delusions to them. And let me break it down like this, because every time somebody tells me, do your own research, I do my own research. And I read more than just the heading of an article. And I typically find out I'm still right. And the articles they told me to look up prove me to be correct. So yes, it is up to you to teach people if you have more knowledge, right? If you know the cure to cancer, for instance, and you don't give it out because you just don't feel like it, then you're the fucking dickhead. If you're like, oh no, the cure to cancer exists, and somebody's like, really? How do you cure cancer? And you go, I don't know, figure it out for yourself, then you're the piece of shit. Not only that, by your logic, everybody's right. Because it's all based on nothing other than emotions, thoughts, and beliefs. If we all collectively believe it's the truth, that makes it the truth. And that means nothing's the truth. I just want to let it be known, if you ever utter the phrase, figure it out for yourself, I'm not your mom, I'm not your dad, I'm not going to teach you how to fucking do research, Google's right at your fingertips, you can go figure it out for yourself, then you're a degraded, degenerate monkey with less than 3 brain cells. If you join any topic of discussion and you can't provide the facts, or you derail the conversation, or you bring up random shit that has nothing to do with the topic just to try to get it somewhere that you can benefit, then you shouldn't open up your mouth in the first place. You are not adult enough, nor are you educated enough to join any topic of discussion. So don't.
Of the hundreds of thousands of
Just
people
one.
that get legally deported,
Just
I
one.
don't need to name you one.
Just one. There are a lot of people that are very convinced of things that are just not accurate. And it sort of is the cornerstone, just regurgitating and repeating catchphrases and bumper stickers without really understanding. So Jeffrey Epstein, often linked to Mossad and the CIA, talking about the the global banking system.
Fundamental part of money, which is called fractionalized banking. And fractionalized banking is something that finance people understand, and the people on the street, and when I say people on the street, that's where I was when I started on Wall Street, would find it impossible to believe. Impossible. Why? Bannon Bank, I give you $1, just one single dollar. In our system of banking, I would say, okay, Steve, I gave you $1. How much could you lend out to your friends? And your natural reaction would be probably something less than $1 because I want to keep something in my pocket. The way our system works is if you as a bank are holding my dollar, you can lend out an additional $8 or $9. No, it's impossible. I only have $1, Jeffrey. We have something called fractionalized reserves, which is if you have 1, you can lend out 9. That's the way our system works. And so not only do world leaders not understand banking, but the man on the street, my father who worked in the park department, it would be beyond his imagination that people could lend out more money than they actually had in their pocket. If the public understood that the bank really doesn't have their money at any one time, one of the things during the Depression, there were runs on the bank. The reason the banks don't keep much money in the actual bank is they assume that not everyone's going to want their money on the same day. So it's not really the fear of inflation. The fear is a run on the bank. Everybody wants to take out something that doesn't really exist. The fundamental part of money.
Yeah, wasn't that it? I don't have your money. Your money's in his house. It's in his house. It's a Wonderful Life. Money's fake. Always has been. President Trump shares this video that rips the woke right.
Do you remember what it was like when the 2020 election was rigged and stolen?
Do you remember it?
Do you remember all the bullshit stories people told?
There's a lot of music in this.
Turned? Do you remember the symbols of tyranny when fences went up around D.C. for Joe Biden's inauguration?
To lock him in after they stole the country.
Do you remember watching fuel and food prices skyrocket in a matter of months?
I'm old enough to remember that. I wish there were captions because I can't play this with the music. Border invasion.
By a virtual army of unidentified criminals.
A virtual army of unidentified criminals.
Do you remember watching our nation get systematically destroyed for
4 years, the controlled implosion.
Do you remember longing for the day?
can't play it with the music. Anyway, you should watch it. Doggone it, I want to play this.
Days of winning when we had Donald Trump in the White House? Do you remember thinking he was going to die when the bullet aimed at his brain only grazed his ear?
I can't play it. I think there needs to be. I call on AI. I call on social media to find a way to just play a video and take the music out, or swap the music with something that's just common, unlicensable music. It's just wrecking a lot of video content that I try to share. Ready Player Wolf says, I expect a huge false flag on Monday. They're going to need something to clog up the news feed to distract us from the Epstein files. This is this accusation that Epstein victim was AR'd by Bush and witnessed babies being okay, what is this? Sent from and sent to. We don't know. Interview of purported Epstein victim. While on the yacht, he witnessed African-American males having sex with white blonde females, all of whom... Oh, this is so gross. He was the victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice where his feet were cut with a scimitar but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being something and then parts taken and individuals eating, and also abused by George Bush 1. That's something we're trying to make sense of. Jack the Rippler says the Epstein, and by the way, once again, just a reminder, these are things that people are talking about. I have no idea if any of this stuff is verified. It's redacted to the point. It's an email from somebody to somebody. Don't know who. What do you, where? I almost have just more questions and confusion with the gobbledygook that's coming out than we do have, well, somebody said something, so it's got to be bad. And that's not to downplay it, because some of this stuff is absolutely what's been going on. Jack claims the Epstein files describe the CEO of Bitcoin, Michael Saylor, as a complete creep and drug-addicted zombie. Bitcoin has the potential to go to zero. Huh. Patrick Riley, I told you at the end of 22, Gary Gensler was directed through Epstein and Mossad to go after Ripple and XRP. Meanwhile, the Bitcoin Foundation was backed by Epstein. Now you know it's true. Oh, boy. Disney CEO Bob Iger, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, both retiring as the Epstein files come out. Is Jamie Dimon retiring? No. So this is 69, turning 70 in March, repeatedly stating he has no immediate plan to step down and intends to remain in the role for at least several more years. No credible sources report on retirement announcement tied to Dimon or Epstein. Okay, so if that's just verifiably not accurate, what did Iger, didn't he get forced out? Was he retired or fired? Neither fired nor retired. Still the CEO of Walt Disney. However, reports he's privately told associates he plans to step down before his contract expires December 31st. Okay, so that's a Viral claims tie Iger's sudden retirement to mentions in the January 26 Epstein doc release. But here's the thing you all need to know about all this stuff. As much as we want to cling to the fantastical here, because your name appears in an unverified secondhand tip hotline for submissions, often from disgruntled individuals like former investors or informants, using Epstein-related channels to push unrelated corporate grievances. These are not evidences of wrongdoing. Victim statements or direct Epstein ties similar to uncorroborated tips about others. No credible sources link this to his departure, Bob Iger. He said personal business reason. Okay. So that's like a partial. Robin Leach. There's accusations that Robin Leach strangled a young girl at a S party with Epstein files dump release, according to Reverse Mockingbird Project. Rihanna, Tina Knowles, Kim Kardashian, Katy Perry have unfollowed Jay-Z on Instagram after his name was found on the Epstein files. More about this Goyim post from Jeffrey Epstein to Roger Schenck. LOL, Epstein casually explaining that Jews create vast fortunes through financial speculation, market crashes, and exploiting the labor of unsophisticated Goyim. Let the Goyim deal in the real world. This is the way the Jew makes money. So many stereotypes contained in one email. That's from Sovereign Bra. Ryan Garcia says, now that you see it's real and happening, I'd like to see other celebrities speak up. I called y'all out last time. You have no excuse this time. It's out there and it's real. You can't call me crazy anymore. Speak up, cowards. But yeah, false flag to distract from the files. I don't know.
The reality.
A lot of unsubstantiated stuff here. All right, so the LAPD is refusing to enforce a new California ban on ICE agents wearing masks so they don't get doxxed and hunted.
Of one armed agency approaching another armed agency to create conflict over something that would be a misdemeanor at best or an infraction, it doesn't make any sense.
Chief McDonnell went on to say the state's federal mask ban is not a good public policy decision, adding in his opinion it was not well thought out due to the possibility of conflict between law enforcement agencies. The ban on face coverings, known as the No Secret Police Act, was introduced following immigration raids across Southern California that began last summer. The law went into effect on January 1st, but is not being enforced because the Department of Justice is currently challenging it in court. So far, the judge presiding over that case has indicated that the federal government has a strong argument that this could be discrimination against federal agents, since some California state law enforcement is exempt.
The reality of...
All right. More court battles. Who's this guy? Asmongood. Been seeing him around a lot lately. Not sure why.
Here.
So... Oh, yeah, the Xbox story. Let's talk about the Epstein Xbox story.
Here's what's been found in the new Epstein files so far. Jeffrey Epstein gave Bill Gates STDs through a Russian victim. Jeffrey Epstein got permanently banned from Xbox Live because he was insulting people in voice chat. Jeffrey Epstein was watching Yuri Hentai and Five Nights at Freddy's Food-a-Porn on 4chan. Jeffrey Epstein met with the 4chan owner, and shortly after, a poll was created. Ghislaine Maxwell was a high-ranking moderator on Reddit. Elon was in close contact with Jeffrey Epstein. George H.W. Bush sacrificed a child. Confirmation that Trump was bought by Israel. Pizzagate is probably real. Jeffrey Epstein viewed Goyim as cattle that can be mistreated. Jeffrey Epstein watched torture videos. Jeffrey Epstein worked for the Mossad.
Some of this true, any of this true, all of this true? That's a lot.
Explain the way this particle moves.
Okay, so who is this Epstein guy?
But I can't see anything here. So I'll just call it dark matter. And I'll say, I don't know what it is, but it behaves as if there was something there. The soul is obvious to everyone that there's something different between things that are alive and things that are not alive. But we have no idea what it is. It's currently unexplainable. I believe we need an entirely different system of analysis to try to figure out.
But
Sorry.
No. With Newton, with all his alchemical studies and things he worked on the spiritual side, Leibniz that just talked about the soul, Schroeder talked about what is life. If a modern scientist or some
Yeah, did we ever see this footage before? This commenter's like, in 6 years, I've never seen this. We couldn't find any footage with this guy talking, just depositions and stuff. Is this AI or is this real?
Someone that you funded at MIT or at Harvard or one of these things talked in those types of terms, they would be considered to be a wingnut today, wouldn't they? They would not be on the path.
Explain the way this
for tenure, right?
Unless they were in the philosophy department.
This is exactly my point. We're talking about three of the greatest mathematicians in mankind's history that have really changed mankind. Talking like this, what happened? How do we get to a situation?
So that's Steve Bannon talking with him.
Where?
Yeah, that's 29 into. Sorry, I didn't even read the intro. During his 2019 interview with Steve Bannon, Epstein is talking about this.
They could not be in the high physics. They could not be in the mathematics department or working in high energy physics.
Good. It's an easy answer. Newton was a combination of mathematician or geometer then and philosopher. And as time went on, those disciplines seemed to move apart. We had philosophy. Some of the philosophers can't do math, and some of the mathematicians. And again, mathematicians often break into two categories. People that solve problems. Those are more like geometers in the old days, just problem solvers. And then there's thinkers, theoreticians. They're more like the old movement towards philosophy.
Was this Bannon was producing a documentary about Epstein? Was it?
Philosophy. But neither one.
This was Steve Bannon interviewing him the months before his arrest.
Of those two groups have been able to figure out
for tenure
why something is alive as opposed to something that's not alive. No one's been able to describe what the soul is, but we all know it exists. And I think what we need is a new, science is a bad word. I think science only describes the things we already know about the physical world. In fact, there's an argument that the physical world that we see has been created out of our systems of mathematics. Mathematics, everyone knows mathematics describes the physical world much greater than it should, unless my view, the physical world really comes out of conscious beings that have mathematics. So they create it. This table appears to you and I to be solid. To a bat, because we have light that's bouncing off the table into our eyes, it appears solid. Why something? If instead of eyes that responded to wavelengths of visual light, our eyes responded to radio waves, the radio frequency.
Someone commented, at first I couldn't understand why Epstein was saying all this stuff in emails. Then I realized he just likes to chat. But this is an interview. I guess it was a series. Let me see what I can learn about this other than just the comments.
Frequencies. It's not different. It's the same type of frequency as light, but different speeds. The table's invisible. We know that our phone works in this room. So the waves are coming through the windows. The waves are coming through the walls. So the walls are invisible to that type of radiation, that type of energy. The walls are, I can see them because my eyes, a physical system determines that the walls are there.
You, with Murray Geldman, you founded, or with the original donor, and had the idea of Santa Fe Institute. In 10 or 15 years later, that effort to study the complexity.
If instead of
complexity of systems.
Grok says Bannon Epstein had a notable relationship in the late 2010s involving extensive communication and filmed sessions. Reports from multiple sources, according to Grok, emails released by the House Oversight Committee in 25, and accounts from journalists. Well, Michael Wolff is a propagandist. Here's a breakdown of key details. Connection began around December 17, introduced possibly through mutual contacts. Bulk of their time together occurred in 2018 and early 2019, prior to the arrest on federal trafficking charges, July 2019. Bannon visited Epstein's Upper East Side townhouse in New York multiple times, including a reported secret visit August 2018, where he entered through a rear entrance to avoid attention. They exchanged hundreds of emails and texts through 18 and 19, frequent strategy discussions. Filmed interviews took place primarily 2018 at Epstein's Manhattan home, described as practice sessions for potential media appearances. Continued into early 2019 as Epstein faced increasing security. Reports consistently indicate Bannon recorded 16 hours of video footage, interview-style sessions. Doesn't include unfilmed time, in-person meetings. Communications spanned months, hundreds of messages exchanged. Motivations appear multifaceted based on emails, accounts, and statements. Why did they do it? Media training and image rehabilitation. Bannon coached Epstein on handling media scrutiny, preparing him for a potential 60 Minutes style interview that never happened. Advice included sticking to the message that Epstein was not a pedo, avoiding racist theories, and framing himself as a supporter of movements like Time's Up. I don't know what that is. Epstein funded these sessions aiming for a redemption tour. The Monsters or the Monster, exposing Epstein's perversions and depravity. That's what Bannon claimed the footage was for. Ties to the global establishment. Planned to release it early 26. However, some reports suggest the project was a cover, and Bannon discussed using an obscure legal tactic, potentially joining Epstein's legal team, to shield the tapes under attorney-client privilege, explaining why they've been largely unseen. Both alienated from elite circles at the same time, Bannon after being fired from the Trump White House in 17. Epstein post-08 conviction. Bannon reportedly viewed Epstein as a potential spy or intelligence asset, as a gateway to international espionage networks. Financial motives may have played a role, with Bannon seeking funding from Epstein. Covered Epstein's views on women, finance, past crimes. DOJ document release showed Bannon praising Epstein effusively at times. Not accused of any wrongdoing as Bannon related to Epstein's crimes. Publicly distanced himself post-arrest, calling Epstein a globalist child molester while pushing for full transparency on Epstein files. Footage remains a point of intrigue, with Mark Epstein advocating for its release to shed light on his brother's mindset. That according to Grok. David says it's kind of like an illusion. A wood table was a tree prior to being transformed into a table.
Mathematically.
Yes.
It's
a total failure. Yes.
A total failure.
Total failure.
Why is that?
It's the failure of science because, in fact, if to some extent science doesn't describe romance. I don't know why I'm attracted to somebody. I don't know. People are attracted to each other, and everyone has the same feeling. They've seen someone walk in the room, and they say, "Oh, that person gives me a creepy feeling." So
that's the clip that's what you take from that. He is like the ultimate creep, right?
Science has tried to describe. Science doesn't describe what creepy feelings means. They just know it's a creepy feeling. I think women, as I said the last time, have an intuitive sense. What is intuitive? They have intuition, they have feelings, and they're able to deal in the realm of things that men, especially men like myself, find unexplainable. They have women have intuition, men see things a bit differently.
Complexity of systems.
Men see things a bit differently. Men want to measure everything. Women are not really that interested in measuring. See things a bit differently.
All right, I just want to play that because I realize I haven't watched much of that at all. Matthew Murphy says you don't need a tinfoil hat anymore. Epstein files released showing credible testimony, their own emails and texts, all but confirming. And see, and I wouldn't say that it's credible testimony and it's proven, but Matthew says our politicians, wealthy elite in our country are all blackmailed and controlled by Israel. They all ard babies, girls, boys, and women, sacrificed, drank the blood of, and ate children in satanic rituals. Country is led by satanic pedophiles in the synagogue of Satan, says Matthew. Someone I'm not following. I don't know who it is. I think I've watched them before. I'll follow. Do you find it strange still that just before the release, we've had riots, protests, false flag events, nonstop fear campaigns, a government-made ice storm freezing, crippling half the country like never recorded before? I bet the terrorist attack 10 times worse than 9/11 is just right around the corner to push us into war with Iran for Israel. Do you believe that? Do you believe some of that, all of that? Comments on the post limited. I don't know. There's accusations, and these accusations have been there for a while. This guy, again, I think this is a different clip about what's in the Epstein files. Or is it the same clip?
All these babies, nobody knows what happened to any of these babies.
This is another clip. Yeah.
But there's the George Bush eating the...
Yeah. There's some real dark accusations happening.
There's actually... So are you telling me that there is a possibility that there is a satanic pedophile elite that's raping young girls, forcing them to give birth, and then taking the babies and then sacrificing and eating the babies?
You look back at the Old Testament, you look into a lot of the sacrifice, the destroying something of value, destroying something you care about. It's very similar energy.
Like,
I feel like this dude, what are you even supposed to say to some of this stuff? Some accusations are everywhere. When they talked about Epstein and, oh, Epstein's a hoax. And I just sat here going, like, this is like one of the darkest days. I don't understand what's going on and why this is happening and how it's not like, didn't make any sense. It really is hard to finish some of these thoughts. Alex Jones has been saying stuff like this for a while. All right, what's this? Dom Luker, breaker of narrative, says Epstein file release resurfaced the fact that Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the federal district judge who sentenced the man who claimed children were being trafficked in Comet Pizza in Washington, D.C. by the most powerful people in the world. Edgar Madison Welch to prison in 2017. Then Joe Biden makes her a Supreme Court justice 5 years later. Triangle Foodgate with extra cheese. Mario Knopfel says Epstein files billionaire Reid Hoffman offered Epstein a gift for the girls. He sent Epstein a strange coded message offering him ice cream in something that may strike his funny bone. To cap off the creepiness, he told him he hopes he's, quote, having fun as usual. Ice cream. If you have any interest, you should try. Else for the girls. 2, something that may strike your funny bone for the island. Everything is just cryptic and confusing and brr. Seeing Bill again, 110 with Satya. Sent you 2 gifts to NYC Addy. Address? I'll then busy at 4 times a week. Going to start today, trying for 7 days a week. Today is day 4 in a row. Email Fred Burton to Don Kuykendall. I think Obama spent about $65,000 of the taxpayers' money flying in pizza and dogs from Chicago for a private party at the White House not long ago. Assume we are using the same channels? Get ready for the Chicago Hot Dog Friday to celebrate all you hot dogs out there. Eric, you can participate as well. Susan Sandler, the realtor, found a handkerchief. I think it has a map that seems pizza related. Is it yours? It's from the Based Latin account. Mario Knopfel says Epstein asks if he should try to do the woman or just torture her. This guy was a real piece of work. To somebody redacted, do you want me to try to do her or just torture her on something? JEvacation@gmail. There appear to be a lot of torture stuff. David says, we know it's even darker. They've been doing this forever. Miss Muckraker put this out. Miss Muckraker says, okay, so everything we said about the Epstein Island in the list was true. Shall we go down the list? Satanic rituals, torture, rape, pedophilia, sexually transmitted diseases, blackmail, Mossad, the rooms, the art, trafficking humans, drugs, parties, celebrities, athletes, politicians. Was right. Our government is corrupted. Our society is being attacked within. Now let's hold them all accountable. Every last one of them, Democrat and Republican, they all do the same effed up S. They are all satanic. They don't deserve to be leading the free world. This should bring we the people together, not divide us more. Oof. All right, let's get out of that realm for just a minute. Let's check in on Mom Donnie's New York. Piles of trash, rat-infested trash bags on the streets of New York. They're not picking up their trash, and they're boxing people in with their snowplows. Mom Donnie the commie getting it done. Let's check in on Los Angeles. Female journalist getting beat up. Did you see this footage?
Even though she don't get away from me. What are you on? Hey, just go. Just get out of here. Hey, guys, don't let her go. Come on, guys. Él es infiltrada. What are you on?
Yeah, so who was that guy right there? Got to find that person. So loving and caring, they say. Riots all weekend. East says this photo is not AI generated. Okay. Nimbus. Say hello to Mr. Nim. It says this photo is not AI generated. Obama, George Clooney, and a 9-year-old girl. Photo Obama, Clooney, and little girl on boat. Real or fake? It is real, but the viral claims are false or misleading. Lake Como, Italy. Little girl in the cropped and angled trial versions, often unidentified person, likely an adult woman or family friend guest, based on wider shots and video from the day. Other full context videos. Misidentification, out of context cropping. But we don't know who it is. Okay. Oh, this is a weird one to think about. Hijacking the entire planet's economy to run a technology that destroys general credibility of videos, pictures, and information forever, so that if the videos surface of them hurting kids, they have plausible deniability. Yeah, this one here, this is... No, I did not watch the Budweiser commercial yet. I would like to, though. Code's Face. You still in here on, where are you at? Twitch? Kick or something? This is like the thing you said. Dude, this Epstein file shit is so weird. It literally feels like one of the biggest things to come out in American history. And yet nobody's talking about it. Not in the news, not on social media, not among my friends or family. I feel like I'm in an alternate universe at this point. The world worked exactly how they said, and they accurately clocked the power dynamics. Our history was one giant manufactured psyop, and they were all laughing at us behind the scenes. Here's what the Epstein files teach us about the elite, says Polycarpus. They hate Jesus Christ and Christians. They practice Judaism. They worship the evil gods from the Old Testament narratives through sexual immorality, murder, and cannibalism. Jesus rose from the dead, and your enemies know it. Huh. Has that been proven yet? Tim says if this is what they decided to release, the still unreleased files must contain cosmic levels of horror and evil. Wow. Prepare for a major event very soon, says the patriotic blonde. They will stop at nothing to take your attention away from the horrors that have just been revealed. Solinnath says the real culture war, Epstein story, that none of these leftists are going to talk about or address is that Epstein was actively talking to homosexual groomers who were pushing transgenderism and trying to push the idea of trans children. fetish stuff. Paul Miller says, whose name is redacted? Who did Epstein send an email to? Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video. You've heard the Hillary stories with Hillary's laptop and Huma Abedin, who's now managing the George Soros fortune in a politically arranged marriage to Alex Soros. Andrew Torba says, now all of you understand why I left Silicon Valley a decade ago. Yes, 90% of them are degenerate freaks from the pit of hell. That one kind of got me thinking about, thankfully I didn't end up doing other things with myself. Roy Drones Jr., that's a good name, says there's almost a 0 chance that Jeffrey Epstein is actually dead. That was a body double in that cell. The prison CCTV footage is gone, but not because it shows men in black suits killing him in his cell. The footage is gone because it shows them bringing in the cadaver with makeup. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've long suspected that. Mary says, or Marv, if we were a serious and proper country, there'd be 100 million people headed to D.C. Allie says, it turns out the only national institution willing to take a stand against the billionaire pedophile ring was Xbox. Yeah, the old world, didn't it seem like the sun was yellow? Does it seem now that like the world is white? Anyone else? Mark Taylor says you can tell how subverted our education system is because nearly every kid is taught that the Crusades are one of history's great evils, when in reality it was one of the most justified fights ever and should be an enormous source of pride. That was defending against a global invasion. All right. This is what we're talking about. Buckle up. Here's Joe Rogan talking with, what's the guy's name? Oh, Ian Carroll.
These emails are bananas.
They're not explained.
They're talking about young kids who are going to be coming to a party to have fun. They're talking
They'll
about
be in the
pizza
pool,
and
they
hot
will be
dogs.
there for sure. $65,000 worth of hot dogs flown from Chicago for a White House party.
The whole thing is like very weird.
Did you ever see the archived Instagram posts from James Alefantis' Instagram?
No.
Because that's a dark place. So that there's so many layers to Pizzagate that they tried to cover up intentionally for very good reason.
Well, how about the logos?
Well, the thing is, I avoid, in the way I've talked about it, I've avoided all the symbols and logos and even some of the pizza stuff because I think there's so much more ripe, clear evidence that is way more powerful. And James Alefantis' Instagram account is a great example where...
Where can you find it online?
So you cannot find it on Instagram anymore. It's only been archived onto other sites, which is kind of sketchy because it's like, how do I know you're not adding photos and stuff? So you kind of have to dig and cross-reference over and over and over to make sure.
Those emails are bananas.
They're not explained.
They're talking about young kids who are going to be coming to a party to have fun. They're talking
They'll
about
be in the
pizza
pool,
and
they
hot
will be
dogs.
there for sure. $65,000 worth of hot dogs flown from Chicago for a White House party. Dig and cross-reference over and over and over to make sure that you're getting sort of like the consensus, because everyone watched as it happened. So people like Liz Crokin, people like Alex Jones, like they saw these things come out, and you can find plenty of different archives of all of James Alefantis' Instagram posts.
Yeah. We had an investigation group on Facebook. Oh man, did they shut that down? You were not allowed to say that stuff out loud. Ugh.
And there are things like photos of children with their arms taped to tables, and the caption is, looks like a fun time. And then people that have always been commenting on his posts, like the people that are interacting with his posts all the time, have even weirder Instagrams where it's like kill room, and there's a coffin that's open and things like that. There's like a photo of like a walk-in freezer, and it's like, man, looks like you've been having a fun weekend. Things like that are just super dark. And a bunch of babies.
And by the way, what's that girl's name? She's on that show now. John Legend's wife, Tegan. Just piles of super strange, creepy stuff.
And a bunch of symbolism, a bunch of children, and it's all photos on their Instagram in plain daylight, and it all got scrubbed, obviously.
Jesus
and that's not to
Christ.
mention Podesta's art collection and the Marina Abramovich connections. It goes on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the Clintons with the Haiti scandals, with dig and cross-reference over and over and over to make.
Okay, what's this? It appears Archie Robert discovers there's money in human trafficking. Came on my way to Uzbekistan. Jimmy Kama, like, okay. Ew. Ghislaine Maxwell. Can you ship them to LMOPK? I don't know what. Oh, Jimmy Comet. Oh, that's a Comet pizza? PK, is that pizza? Oh, God. Okay. Been working overtime. That little baby loved the farm. Okay, God. The hell is this? Arms taped down. This is what he's talking about, Jimmy Comet. Oh, yeah, this looks fun. It's huge. What? Just rinse it off when you're done. Hashtag murder. Man, send pizza to Bobby. Bobby Slayton. Pizza party this weekend. Yum, that looks good. The boys are really cute too. Thanks for taking the boys for pizza. It was sad he had to leave the fun. Hope you're hungry. Pizza party was great. Stayed late. We all slept in. Your night was good. May I bring in your slice of pizza to you? Respectfully, Daphne. Ugh. Slicing a pizza. Yeah, yeah. Ugh. Get this off my fucking screen. Yeah. The guy who wanted to slip his wife antibiotics for STDs he contracted on Epstein Island, he was entrusted to force us all to take vaccines. Let that sink in. Yeah, let that sink in.
No one
Grammys dorkiness saying no one is illegal.
is illegal on stolen land. And
dork.
Yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just
Tim Pool says this statement is a paradox.
need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter. And I say sorry.
F ice.
Thank you. No one is
Yeah, this statement is a paradox.
illegal on stolen land.
Did you watch the Grammys? Nah. DC Drano says 3 million more Epstein files released. The internet is still reviewing him. Here's a few key takeaways. DC Drano, this alone should justify a criminal investigation into Bill Gates. He was planning pandemic simulations with Epstein in 2017. You can't make this up. DC Drano says the DNC emails had FBI verified food code words for types of child abuse. The Epstein emails have FBI verified food code words. Oh, Nimbus, what are we doing? Why are you stepping on the... Come on. How can anyone look at these and not think there are satanic pedophiles embedded at the top levels of our government? Hug your babies close. Hot dog is a boy. Pizza is a girl. Cheese is a little girl. Pasta is a little boy. Ice cream's a male prostitute. Walnut's a person of color. Map is semen. It just kind of keeps innocent children placed into the most evil situation imaginable in this world, and there was no one there to rescue them. Lord Mandelson resigns over Epstein files. Okay. DC Drano doesn't want resignations. They want arrests. Elon says what matters is not the release of some subset of the Epstein files, but rather the prosecution of those who committed heinous crimes with Epstein. When there is at least one arrest, some justice will have been done. DC Drano says, I agree with Elon. We not only want all the rest of the Epstein files released, but we want to see arrests. Giants co-owner implicated as well. Hey, Ellen DeGeneres, why does your set look like Epstein Island? Boy, oh boy, does it. Jay says Epstein files bombshell. Jane Fonda, Robert De Niro are in the emails. Two of the biggest Trump haters appear to be best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. These emails detail planned handouts with Epstein, Jane Fonda, Robert De Niro, and Peggy Siegel. DC Drano says it should surprise absolutely no one that TDS sufferers Jane Fonda and Robert De Niro were close friends with Jeffrey Epstein. They attacked the man exposing all of the crimes of their Hollywood friends. The name should not be redacted in this Epstein file. This person should be exposed and investigated. Who sent an email to Epstein saying, I give you permission to K him. He is apparently with someone. He lied to you and he lied to me, sent from my iPhone. Every new release of the Epstein files, according to DC Drano, is proving President Trump was never involved with Epstein's pedo crimes. But Democrats and TDSers continue to try and smear him as if he is. If you run across any Democrat fools who say there's proof Trump art a 13-year-old, just calmly post this screenshot of the official response to the claimant in the Epstein files and move along. This is what liberals are intentionally leaving out because they're desperate liars and they know it. Have a nice day. Remember that one we were just reading about underneath the golf course? Complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. Additional research showed 3 separate incidents involving police which requested in mandatory psychiatric evaluations. So a crazy person rambling something does not make something true. DC Drano says Reid Hoffman has been funding leftist organizations for years that protest President Trump and cause chaos on our streets. He is viciously anti-Trump, and now we know why. Reid Hoffman was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein who visited Pedo Island and the New Mexico ranch. Busted. Kaneko the Great says newly released Epstein emails. LinkedIn founder Hoffman discussing visits to Epstein's ranch. So, Jelly Roll. I'm a fan of Jelly Roll. I like this guy. He went to the Grammys and did this. Oh, I wonder if the Grammys are going to put a copyright claim on this. Because, you know, Grammys are going to Grammy. He's very appreciative of his reward, his award. Do I have to make him smaller? Do I have to make it small so it doesn't pop? Let me try it this way. Here he is.
I know they're going to try to kick me off here, so just let me try to get this out. First of all, Jesus, I hear you and I'm listening, Lord. I am listening, Lord. Second of all, I want to thank my beautiful wife. I would have never changed my life without you. I'd have ended up dead or in jail. I'd have killed myself if it wasn't for you and Jesus. I thank you for that.
If it wasn't for you and Jesus, I would have ended myself.
I thank you for my label, Broken Bow. Country Radio, baby. What's up, dog?
Well, the rest of Hollywood's giving speeches defending illegal aliens. Jelly Roll uses his time on stage at the Grammys to praise Jesus Christ.
Oh, Republic John Manili, we did it, baby. There was a time in my life, y'all.
Yeah, he's on the same show, Star Search. Is it Star Search? The one with Tegan? and Reba McEntire.
But I was broken. That's why I wrote this album. I didn't think I had a chance, y'all. There was days that I thought the darkest things. I was a horrible human. There was a moment in my life that all I had was a Bible this big and a radio the same size and a 6x8 foot cell. And I believed that those two things could change my life. I believed that music had the power to change my life and God had the power to change my life. And
dude's going to be a mega church pastor before you know it. But his story's great. It's one of those, if he can make it, you can make it.
I want to tell y'all right now, Jesus is for everybody. Jesus is not owned by one political party. Jesus is not owned by no music label.
Jesus is not owned by one political party, and Jesus is not owned by a music label.
Jesus is Jesus, and anybody can have a relationship with him. I love you, Lord.
We'll put here in the comments, what an easy to root for kind of dude. So there was that moment yesterday during the Grammys as well. All right, disturbing. Breaking it down. Was this the paranormal file?
I give you permission to kill him. He's apparently with blank. He lied to you, and he.
Music in the background. I can't play it. But it's also something I just covered, and that's 2-3 minutes long. So, was this normies realizing that Goyim is one of the most used words in the files next to Israel?
We're born to only serve us, he said in a 2010 sermon. Without that, they have no place in the world, only to serve the people of Israel.
What? Data set 10? He said. Is that saying that that's from Epstein?
Guys, this is...
I got that one part, but what was the other one?
This is insane.
Okay.
So...
Hundreds of businesses in Minnesota going bankrupt after fraud exposed.
As soon as they cut out all of the money, all of the fraud money, everybody runs. Everybody mysteriously starts going out of business. I just don't...
Turn off the water and everything stops growing.
What? No way! Wow, how could this happen? We're broke. Wait, what? What do you mean as soon as they stop getting all the money from fraud, they're able to, they're not able to make any money anymore? That's crazy. So as soon as they cut...
And Nick Shirley going to Los Angeles, or he's in Los Angeles now? In response to Steve Bannon being removed from the National Security Council in 2017, Michael Wolff told Epstein, war between the Jews and the non-Jews, Jews presently winning. Michael Wolff, that political hit job guy, to Jeffrey Epstein, war between the Jews and the non-Jews, Jews presently winning. And that's where Bannon was removed from the National Security Council. How you doing? "2018 email, Epstein recounts laughing about Jews controlling the world. Quote, at my dinner table, I asked, why are you right-wing guys so anti-Semitic? One said, historically, we all know it's actually been the Jews behind the governments actually pulling the strings. I said, like who? And one pointed at me, and they all started to roar with laughter. Guilty. He sent it to himself. Jeffrey E. to Jeffrey Epstein. Candace Owen says, remember at the end of last year when I was called anti-Semitic for telling you this is the literal religious worldview of many people in power. Type in Goy or Goyim in the Epstein files and be sure to tag a Christian who needs to wake up and leave the Zionist cause. David Miller says, this is the way that, okay, that's the one about let the Goyim deal in the real world. The Jew make money, making a fortune in the past 10 years selling the short for shipping futures. Goyim were born only to serve us. Without that, they'd have no place in the world, only to serve. Jack Posobiec asks, will the people who say Christ is king and holding a rosary are hate speech? Will they say anything about Epstein constantly referring to whites as goys and goyim and laughing about exploiting them and young white girls? What? What do you want? You want to get in on this? You want in on this? Well, you want to be a part of the show? Come on. All right. All right. You keep it to that side then. Mr. Bean is in the house. Oh, remember that? Does this video hit differently now? What's up, big things? All the Satanists in the audience at the Grammys don't know what to make of Jelly's Jesus rant. True. Now, does this clip from President Trump's first term feel any different, knowing what we know now?
At the crux of the theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind? Or
Saving the world from a satanic cult of pedophile cannibals.
I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing? I mean, you know, if I can help save the world from problems, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself out there.
Full speed ahead. What if some of this stuff is fixed now? We shall see. Whoa, Ben, what's up? Ian Smith, I lost track of how many times I read the word Goyim in the latest batch of Epstein files. But trust Trump, guys, it's just a Democrat hoax. Right? It's just a Democrat hoax. Alternative News says Epstein, Israel took control of Bitcoin by paying the salaries of 3 of the 5 key developers. This means that Israel can likely modify the code of Bitcoin to do something else, like getting alerts early or blocking a transaction. Wow. Micah says Kash Patel said there's no credible information that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked minors. He perjured himself in a sworn statement before Congress. He must be immediately arrested and charged under 18 U.S. Code 1621. Nicholas Hulschler says Breaking Bill Gates was planning pandemic simulations with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. You can't make this up. Dominic Michael Trippy says newly released Epstein documents reveal alleged connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu involving Epstein assisting in securing meetings with Netanyahu. Against all odds, we've been granted a meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Roy Navin to Jacob Frankel. That was what? Epstein to Jess Staley. Oh, kiss the wall on Epstein Island. Jake Shield says, so they're admitting that they have snuff and torture films, but they aren't going to make any arrests? John says, hi, I'm Dan Bongino. Bangino. They spelled it wrong. And I protect pedos. None of these people have tweeted about the latest Epstein files. I wonder why. No, that's DC Drano. He was literally, I've been covering him today. Epstein files, if they teach us anything, says Jason Bassler, government is not an instrument of benevolence. It's a sanctuary for child rapists, war criminals, career thieves, and sexual predators. A taxpayer-funded shield for ruling class deviants. Trusting it to save America is delusional. That time, Attorney General of the U.S. testified there was no Epstein client list. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, according to Unusual Whales, signals there will be no new charges brought in the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, per CNN. Dave Smith says, hey, Dan Bongino, now that the files are out, can you share with us the part that proved Epstein killed himself? You said you saw the files and knew for a fact he killed himself. Surely you weren't lying through your fucking teeth. Ella Malding says nothing else matters if we let them get away with rape, abuse, violence, and child sacrifice. If we don't get protecting vulnerable human beings right, we get nothing right. Luke says these redactions are criminal, Luke Radowski. I give you permission to K him. Why are they covering the sender? Journalist Nick Shirley on the ground in California investigating more ghost daycares, this time in San Diego. It's a 3-minute clip. I'm not going to play it, but take a look. Yeah. I got you. There you go. Okay. Patrick Cutler says Minnesota will be over by the end of this week. Then your TV set will come up with some other fake controversy in a couple weeks. And idiots will sit around acting like it's the end of the world. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Never flinch. The one guy does just, this is so interesting in slow motion. ICE agents getting attacked in this Los Angeles, I think. I don't know that music, so I got to mute it. Yeah, launching fireworks. But slow-mo is crazy out there. Dear God, what in the world made me find this sexy? I don't know. It's super cool. We shall see. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is as they try to slander Trump. This is the counterpoint to that.
Major Epstein files update right now. There's some documents that you need to know about, including allegations made against the president of the United States, Donald Trump.
Oh, show me.
This one says that Donald Trump had parties at Mar-a-Lago called, quote, calendar girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the girls in and Trump would auction them off.
Aaron, you left out an entire column in your version. You know, the one in the middle that says what the Fed's response was? Oh, because this one says that no contact information was provided. But yours doesn't even have that portion. Why did you take that portion out, Aaron? Oh, you mean it was an unsubstantiated tip where no contact info was provided? Where an investigation wouldn't even be possible?
These are additional complaint summaries.
Oh, and for all those, you also said this.
As you look through these files, what you see is that the investigations don't actually happen. And when they do happen, they're quick and they're kind of cast aside.
When claims are so baseless with little to no evidence or way to contact the people who submitted the tip, it's standard when the tips are anonymous hearsay to not have an official follow-up if there's nothing to follow up on. Oh, and you didn't talk about this email where Trump says Epstein never got massages, but the way you left out the column in the middle during your presentation. Come on, bro. Why don't you tag Aaron Parnas and tell him to do better?
We have a major Epstein files update right now. There's some documents that you need to know about, including allegations made.
Yeah, allegations without verification does not mean validation. Keep that in mind for this one. Holy crap, Nicki Minaj just let it rip. She says, your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. Maybe I should discuss the brainwashing techniques they use. They're flying in immigrants to vote because they reneged on all of the promises they made to African Americans and can no longer get the African American vote by default. They're causing distractions in the streets to distract from the billions they stole from taxpayers. Any Christian who votes Democrat again is a fool. They're showing people that it's okay to disrupt a church during worship. This is how they truly feel about you. The veil is lifted, no morals, no integrity. It's not enough for them to have an opinion. They've escalated to physical intrusion of places of worship. The demons inside of them are so bothered all of the time. Nicki Minaj, what in the F? That's Jay-Z there. I don't know. That's kind of pixelated. Looks a little photoshopped. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Imagine if a 30-year-old rapper was out here with a 16-year-old in this day and age and how y'all would have his head on a platter. This guy was hugging and humping on teens in broad daylight. Next, I'll get on the owner of the Shade Room and more. Are y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing kids as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless, says Nicki Minaj, as they are, and you will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story times. Since I was trying to not say what I know, yes, they continue to attempt bullying. Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated. And until I tell you about all the sabotage this Rico is finding out about Billboard. They sabotaged my documentary, says Nicki Minaj, because I spoke about abuse that I suffered. They've been trying to stall all my projects in hopes that I'd lose a bunch of money and beg them for help. Their leaders still think it's a joke. The destruction that's about to come down on them isn't funny. I told y'all to leave me alone. Now you'll understand why you should have sat there and taken your meds. Nicki Minaj is all in. And how sick of these idiot protesters. What am I trying to say? Are you sick of the protesters yet? Graham Allen says everyone's sick of it. Minneapolis man stopped by a leftist activist playing traffic cop as he's going to work.
We don't let cars through once we have a big crowd like this. I'm sorry about the inconvenience.
Stand right there and let me go that way. I'm not trying to go that way. I'm going that way.
You can go that way on 33rd too. Is it in between here you gotta go?
The house I'm going to is right past this block.
What about that block?
Why am I about to go all the way around? I'm not going towards them if y'all stand where I can't go that way. I'm going that way.
You want to turn left? Yeah, let's go.
Right, I'm trying to turn right.
That's not him. All right. I'll get behind the truck so no one else tries.
Who the hell are these people? Who the hell do they think they are?
Another frustrated neighbor, just tired of.
Yeah. People are pretty sick of the crap. Jake Shields says an anonymous 4chan poster said that Epstein was wheeled out of prison hours before his reported death. Subpoenas show that man was Roberto. What does that say? Grijalva, a lieutenant at the prison at this time. It appears Epstein really did get broken out of prison and flown to Israel. You guys, I'm shaking right now, but I think they switched him out. I've been saying that from the beginning. The individual who anonymously posted on 4chan the morning of Epstein's death, August 10, 2019, claiming he witnessed weird happenings at the prison before Epstein's death has been identified in the Epstein files. Roberto Grijalva, an officer at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, has been identified as the anonymous prison employee, according to Heather C., who posted on 4chan claiming Epstein left his cell Friday evening shackled in a medical wheelchair, while at the same time an unauthorized trip van arrived at the prison, which he believes took Epstein away the night before news broke of his death. The day after Epstein's death, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman of the SDNY opened a grand jury proceeding and subpoenaed 4chan, Apple, AT&T, and Citibank for records aiming to uncover Grijalva's identity following the anonymous 4chan post. Grijalva's name is not redacted on his bank records, including the SDNY subpoena response from Citibank for his 4chan post, and ties to the same prison officer, Roberto Grijalva, whose statements were released as part of the prison's investigation into Epstein's death. This is huge. We now have validation. The 4chan post from 8/10/2019 is a legitimate eyewitness account from an MCC prison officer that Epstein may have been switched out before news broke of his alleged suicide. Brother Nathaniel, if this is true, then Epstein is now in Tel Aviv eating matzo balls. I don't know. But that is the extent of what I wanted to share with you on Instagram today. Hit like, hit subscribe. Share the show. Consider dropping a tip in the tip bucket. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal is my name, Brian Engelman, or fuzzinstallment at Yahoo for PayPal. Rumble, rants, and super chats. Let's start the month off great. Everybody, we appreciate you as usual. Hit subscribe to the show. Hit the notification bell. And consider becoming a monthly supporter on either Patreon or Rumble or YouTube. All right, let's scroll through what else we got. Stephen Miller says, our media thinks that a founding pine tree flag at a vacation home is more damaging to the Supreme Court's reputation than a Supreme Court justice giving standing ovations to celebrities who are saying that the country is on stolen land. I guess she was doing that. I didn't see. Ilhan says, this is how I knew so long ago that Reid Hoffman went to Epstein's Island. Epstein used Reid being there to try to get me to go, not realizing that it would have had the exact opposite effect. Rob Jenkins says, look, I didn't make up the rules, but here they are. If you're a conservative saying men are not women, it's literal violence and you deserve to be shot in the neck. If you're a leftist, throwing rocks and bricks at federal agents, trying to run them over with a car, terrorizing churches, beating up conservatives, are all forms of peaceful protest, and anyone who tries to stop you is violating your civil rights. You got it? Good. Of course, check out our previous episode, Don Lemon arrested, Minnesota church protest, Georgia 2020 ballot raid, SAVE Act push, and Minnesota voter fraud probe. Senator Chris Murphy gets fact-checked lying about ICE.
Come on, we're still pretending that ICE is going after dangerous people. They aren't. Right now, 70% of the people that they are detaining have absolutely no criminal record. What is happening?
DHS says 70% of those they're arresting, and that's their number, do have some kind of criminal record.
What is happening in Minnesota right now is a dystopia. ICE is tear gassing elementary schools. It is disappearing.
Dude, these guys and their dumbass narratives. He's like, what am I supposed to say? Let me look at my notes. Think. What did they want me to say?
Disappearing legal residents into cars. It is murdering American citizens. ICE is making this country less safe, not more safe today.
Yeah, so he totally lied about the 70%. Giorgia Meloni says they said I would destroy Italy, but they were wrong. Employment's at a record level. Economy is growing. Illegal immigration fallen by 60%. We're expanding freedom in every aspect of Italians' lives. Tim Carney says it would be nice to see everyone who predicted doom with Meloni write a "Why I Was Wrong" on the front page. Wouldn't it be nice? Breaking, Tom Homan warns us.
There was a chilling moment in Tom Homan's speech here in Minneapolis a few days ago where he said 13 million illegal immigrants came across the border, and we know who they are and where they are. They showed up and asked for amnesty. We took their picture. We took their fingerprints. They're all across the country, spread far and wide to these sanctuary cities. They were brought on a bus, given a cell phone, a credit card, in some cases put up in luxury hotels. We know where these people are. But there were 2 million people that came into this country that skipped the cash. What the hell were those 2 million people up to? 2 million people. 2 million illegal immigrants came into this country and they skipped the cash.
What?
Sleeper cells. You have to think. As a matter of national security, your mind has to first go to sleeper cells. 2 million people, 2 million illegal immigrants.
To stay off the radar. They paid the money to stay off the radar.
Immigrants that are, desperate for amnesty and a chance at peace, a chance to get away from the ratchet and ugly circumstance they faced in their origin country. For them to skip the cash, conspicuous. This is like I was saying. So maybe President Trump, he set that bait, he set that trap, he sent Holman in, he sets the trap, and what does Jacob Frey do? Jacob Frey triple and quadruples down in the wake of it and says Minneapolis will not comply with federal immigration law. Minneapolis, the mayor of Minneapolis has basically declared that the city of Minneapolis will not comply with federal immigration law. Kind of brings the bottom out of the entire left's argument that this isn't about deportations. Principally, it's about the manner in which deportations are carried out. Jacob Frey, being the dimwit that he is, let the cat out of the bag. He couldn't help himself. He's got himself worked up into this woke, pseudo intellectual, suicidal, empathetic, theatrical, liberal performance. And so all of a sudden, he finds himself directly in a battle with the ire of the liberal left's political worldview, President Trump himself, and he lets the cat out of the bags. And President Trump, hit him with a steel trap, and he really did. Brilliantly played. Send Holman out, he's going to pull Bovino off, which I didn't agree with either. But again, I'm much further to the right than President Trump. And they'll clip that and go, oh, it's further right.
But Bovino got moved. I was like, well, did he get fired? Dude, they brought in Tom Homan. Like, that is the big dog. I don't know that you got removed. Or that you got demoted. You're bringing in the number one guy in Tom Homan. I don't know. Let's see how the Bovino thing plays out.
I'm further right in that the president is somewhat of a kind and decent-hearted man, and he's a moderate in the MAGA movement. These people got to realize he is a moderate. He's going to play nice with these people to an extent, and he's doing it here in Minnesota. Get Tim Waltz on the phone, let's talk to him and see where he's coming from.
Yeah, for what reason?
See if we can, discuss something and de-escalate things and, make everything go the way that it should go. But he's a judo player, man. He's setting that steel trap for you. And he laid the trap beautifully.
I guess he laid the trap, but the complaint is that he doesn't go hard enough.
In that regard, in that instance. And the Minneapolis mayor, our mayor here in Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, he just, threw himself, just body flopped right on that trap. We're not going to comply with federal immigration law. Huh? Excuse me? Insurrectionist. That's what he is. That's when a city official or a state official says they refuse to comply with federal law.
Big problems.
Especially from an explicitly anti-executive position.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing it on a general basis about the merit of a law, piece of legislation that may be passed that he doesn't agree with at the state level. No, he's saying directly to the executive branch, the unified theory of the executive, the commander in chief. He's saying we are opposing the president of the United States. That is, strategy. In fact, insurrection by definition.
Do I have the clip from the Grammys? Where that dope said something? Trevor Noah. Don't know if I have it, but President Trump talks about what Trevor Noah said. Says the Grammy Awards are the worst, virtually unwatchable. CBS is lucky not to have this garbage litter their airwaves any longer. The host, Trevor Noah, whoever he may be, is almost as bad as Jimmy Kimmel at the low ratings Academy Awards. Noah said incorrectly about me that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island. Wrong. I can't speak for Bill, but I have never been to Epstein Island, nor anywhere close, and until tonight's false and defamatory statement, have never been accused of being there, not even by the fake news media. Noah, a total loser, better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. It looks like I'll be sending my lawyers to sue this poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC and suing him for plenty of money. Ask little George Slopadopoulos and others how that all worked out. Also, ask CBS. Get ready, Noah. I'm going to have some fun with you. President DJT. So buckle up. Billionaire Tom Pritzker bragged to Epstein that he was in Afghanistan with boys with toys. According to Jackson Hinkle, who says it's satanic, I'm in a remote valley of Afghanistan. It's my birthday wish. With boys with toys. What the fuck does that mean? Spent time with Petraeus yesterday, and he loaned me a chopper. Actually, 2 with 1 as a backup. Can't call till tomorrow. What is this? Echo Chamber says on a trans day of visibility, shed light on child mutilation profiteer Jennifer Pritzker. Is that a guy? Sort of looks like Steve Bannon in a wig, whose philanthropy benefits Pritzker's investments in pediatric orthopedic surgery. Oof. Luke Radowski says Afghanistan was known as the CIA hub for boy abuse. Our tax dollars actually paid for little boys to be abused because the Afghan fighters were, quote, on our side, end quote. U.S. soldiers who spoke out about it were arrested. Brandon Straka tells us about the crime rates here. Shares this from a Fox update.
30%. Robbery down 58%, though. Burglary down 47%. This is a huge one. The motor vehicle theft, all those kids that were running around taking people's cars, that's down 57%. All crime is down 26%. So is this a 30%? Robbery down 58%.
Year to date, DC crimes are way down. Carl Higby says 18% of all home health care is billed in LA. Who is going to jail?
One doctor billed the government $120 million in a single year, claiming to oversee 1,900 patients. With almost 2,000 hospice agencies, LA County has more than 36 states combined and 30 times more than either Florida or New York.
18% of the whole country's home health care billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. How is that possible?
And take a look at this map, a cluster of 287 hospice providers in a 2-mile radius, some in strip malls, unmarked buildings, even a wrecking yard and vacant lot.
All of it is just paperwork. I could fill that out in Kazakhstan if I want and get a hospice license waiting for me.
And Dr. Bill.
That's why we're here today. That's why we're here today. That's why so many of our members come together in the immigration.
And so I thought I would just come on and say, hi, my name is Mila. I am 3 years old, and I am an actor, a model. I work for the government in a regular 9-to-5. Also, I have no children and a beautiful rescue dog named Stella. I was originally born in San Juan, Puerto Rico, actually Santurce in Puerto Rico. So obviously my first language is Spanish, not that you could tell by my non-accent. I'm an actor, a model. I work in data for the government as a regular 9-to-5. Used to work from home, but now they're making us come in every Wednesday, which just seems like torture in a way, because I get so much done at home, but it's such a good job and my boss is amazing, and so no complaints. It's just going to be an adjustment. But anyway, that is me. I'd love to know who you are. Right now, I am in Portland, Oregon, not by choice, but I'm stuck here for now. And maybe we'll be stuck here for another few years.
citizen. You're an Australian. You know, you're clearly not rooting for Hillary, but are you rooting for Trump?
No. I mean, if we have good information on Trump, we publish that. If we have good information on Hillary, the Democrats, we publish that. It is a bit concerning, the allegations that by the Clinton campaign that everyone is a Russian agent are really disturbing. Why is that? Well, because bizarrely, Hillary Clinton, the Democrat, has positioned herself now to be the security candidate. She's powered up with the neocons responsible for the Iraq War, and she's grabbed on to this kind of neo-McCarthyist hysteria about Russia and is using that to demonize the Trump campaign. The Trump campaign has all sorts of things wrong with it, but as far as we can see, being Russian agents is not one of them. You know, some people have asked us, when will you release information on Donald Trump? And of course, we're very interested in all countries to reveal the truth about different candidates so people can understand. But it's really hard for us to release anything worse than what comes out of Donald Trump's mouth every second day. I mean, it's part of his charismatic appeal that he speaks off the cuff.
$1 million in a single year, claiming to oversee 1,900 patients. With almost 2,000 hospice agencies, LA County has more than 36 states combined, and 30 times more than either Florida or New York.
18% of the whole country's home health care billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. How is that possible?
And take a look at this map, a cluster of 287 hospice providers in a 2-mile radius, some in strip malls, unmarked buildings, even a wrecking yard and vacant lot.
All of it is just paperwork. I could fill that out in Kazakhstan if I want and get a hospice license waiting for me.
One doctor billed the government $120 million in a single year.
Reported ICE agent gets assaulted and ambushed in Minneapolis at a Mexican restaurant. Countless violent leftists immediately surround him. No police around to do anything. Eric Daughtry says, arrest them. This has to stop. Tim Waltz, Jacob Frey. George Clooney, multiple Epstein emails. I know Copenhagen has interesting girls. Who was that? That was who to who? Epstein to... I don't know. Like, I'm sort of finding all of this stuff to just be a little confusing. Thank you, Lake Leon Music. A call came in that I had to address. Yeah. Good times. So Clooney's name appears numerous times. Once again, all the biggest Trump haters were best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. That might be a stretch. Amuse shows in the UK. As Islamic migrants filmed ripping the windows out of an occupied jewelry store in London. They won't be arrested as police are too busy tracking down and arresting the people criticizing the criminals on social media. I don't know if they're Islamic migrants. "10:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning, Richmond, London." Nobody stopped him for anything, though. Epstein claims he was on the phone with Alan Schwartz and Jess Staley of JP Morgan during the 2008 Bear Stearns collapse while he was in jail for S crimes. 2023, Jamie Dimon testified under oath that he never even knew Epstein. Is that likely or unlikely, according to Finance-A-Lot? More convicted arrests in ICE custody. Salt Lake City, Marcos Navarez Zamora, criminal illegal alien from Mexico, 32 years for felony R. Get the hell out of here. These people shouldn't have never been here. Representative Anna Paulina Luna says, big update. House GOP leadership will no longer move the appropriations under suspension, meaning there will be a rule to which the Save America Act can be added. If they do not, these appropriations bills will fail. Voter ID and the Save America Act are not negotiable. We must secure our elections. Amen. A living piece of history swimming beneath the Arctic ice. They say this Greenland shark has been alive since 1627. I don't know how they know that. It was born before Isaac Newton. Tim Burchett says he could be a U.S. senator. It's pretty funny. This is Ben Swan in Atlanta doing a 2017 report on Pizzagate, fired in January 2018 for trying to relaunch his independent media without permission. I think Ben is on the intro reel for us. Uh, 6 years ago, a truly shocking incident occurred that disgraces the name of science. A dozen scientists shared the view that COVID started with a laboratory experiment. So they met online to discuss how to mislead the world into thinking the opposite. Shame on them. This Spider Mike guy calls himself the president of Antifa outside the Portland ICE facility. What's he calling for? Well, he calls himself the president of Antifa. Good luck with that. I want to find something fun to end with today. I don't know if I have it in the stack. I mean, Fetterman being based is something I didn't have on my bingo card.
I come from this as an absolute secure border Democrat here, and that's where we're at. Like, focus on the secure our border, deport all the criminals, and that we can figure out now. And I also say now, some of those, the agents wearing masks, I think primarily that's driven by people are going to dox those people. That's a serious concern too. Absolutely. They could target their families, and they are organizing these people to put their names out there. So don't ever dox people and target their families too. So that's part of the churn as well now too.
Okay.
It's a mess with the Democrats. Legal Observer Act collapses. Green helmeted observer dumps liquid on an ICE supporter. Pakistani migrants rushing to the consulate in Barcelona for paperwork in Spain as the government plans to regularize 500,000 illegal aliens, all military-aged men, no women or children. They will soon be able to freely move across Europe in a European Union. This will not end well. All men. I mean, maybe not all men, but it looks like mostly men. Yeah, it looks like all men. That's an invasion. Don't do it. Geert Wilders says that's suicide. You saw this lady getting around.
What the fuck? You guys are gonna... What the fuck? They're gonna break my window, guys, please. They're gonna...
Wow, you mean impeding a federal investigation might lead to circumstances in conflict?
These are unbelievable. These are unbelievable. Guys, I'm getting out, okay? Guys, my...
She's been issued orders over and over.
Keys are in the car, please. Oh, fuck, they broke my window. They're breaking my window, guys. I'm a U.S. citizen. It's insane. Insane, this guy's breaking my window, guys.
Done to stir up sympathy. Look, I'm filming myself. Look, victim from this thing that I completely created. I chose to go here to cause a problem, and look, how dare they?
They're gonna try to arrest me.
They need better tools for this, though. That window should pop out. You need the window breakers. They go pop. They splinter. They work.
I was unlocking the door.
Yeah, I was unlocking the door at a minute 21 into the video. No, you weren't.
Guys, my phone's under here.
What kind of shoes is this person wearing? Anyway, so much self-inflicted unnecessary stuff. Former ATF senior executive and acting director, FBI Counterterrorism Forensics Center, says investigation into anti-ICE protester signal operations could result in federal conspiracy case. Buying bricks or riot shields or getting provided with riot equipment or gas masks that could easily be argued that you have a conspiracy. So it's really very serious if this pans out. Danielle D'Souza Gill says former president of the University of Montana expected to announce a run for U.S. Senate as an independent, while President Bodner allowed a man to participate as a woman on the university's D1 cross-country team. Anyone who allows men to compete in D1 sports is not an independent. We need people who are willing to fight for women in sports, not give way to woke trans athletes. Stacy is right, says, I've compiled a complete list of the U.S. politicians we have elected in the past 50 years who had their net worth go down while serving our country. Donald Trump. That's it. Constitutional conservative. Not a single Democrat is holding up a sign, marching in the streets, rioting, or showing outrage for 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton, who was tied up, and strangled to D with a phone cord by an illegal alien MS-13 gang member. You don't know her name. You're not rioting in outrage of that. Don Lemon has been granted permission to take an annual vacation in France. Douglas Mackey's passport confiscated by DOJ for 4.5 years. J6ers charged with misdemeanors were given pre-trial house arrest. Tim Hale held in solitary confinement for pre-trial 18 months. Make it make sense. Nigeria fraud. Checking these stories. Oh, Trump announces a new lawsuit.
Thanks. What did you think of the latest release of Epstein files, and do you think your critics
Epstein file release. Oh, is he in a tux from like a Melania event?
will be satisfied with?
Well, they should be, because it looked like this guy Wolf, who's a writer, was conspiring with Epstein to do harm to me. And I didn't see it myself, but I was told by some very important people that not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping, you know, the radical left. That Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me, politically or otherwise. And that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf on that. And maybe the Epstein estate, I guess. I don't know. But we're going to certainly sue them.
You want to sue the Epstein estate?
Well, you may. I guess so, because he was conspiring with Wolf to do harm to me politically. That's not a friend. Thanks.
What did you think of the latest
So keep your eyes. That's like every time I read Michael Wolff, he's a political hitman. Rogan has thoughts about why he does go to church. I didn't know that he did.
One of the things that I always try to point out to people, they go, why do you go to church? Like, because when I was younger, I was very cynical about religion. And then I've gotten older. One of the things that I always say is, if there was a pill that could make you as nice as the people that I go to church with, everybody would be on it.
Yeah.
They are the nicest fucking people you'll ever encounter. When we leave
Are
the
they
church
nice or are they
parking lot,
kind?
they're kind.
Yeah, they're kind.
Kind and nice. They're all the above. If you get to the teachings of Christ, I can't find any faults in it. Like, it's all about being kind. It's all about this idea that we're all in this together and that you're supposed to lift each other up and look after each other. There's no faults in it. It's not like you have to kill the non-believers. It's not like you get to rape and pillage for the non-believers and the infidels must die. There's none of that. It's definitely a better framework for living your life. And there's a lot of people that just reject that think of themselves as intelligent. You know, they think of themselves as intelligent and well-read and educated. And
Too
they just
smart
think
for that.
Yeah, I'm too smart for that.
Too smart.
It's very fascinating. It's fascinating that people that are self-professed atheists and people that think of themselves as too intelligent for religion won't acknowledge that. They don't want to believe that. And so many of them that I know that are self-professed atheists are some of the most miserable people. They're very depressed. A lot of them are on psychiatric medications. A lot of them are in therapy. A lot of them are really fucked up.
They're almost cursed.
Well, there you go. Almost like they're cursed. All right. I think that's what I got. That's what I got for now. A lot of stuff going on today. A lot of rumors, a lot of strange stories. Where there's smoke, there's fire, maybe. Trying to make sense of it all. Every day, that's what we do here on the TNAM Daily Show. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. Consider signing up, like I said, on Patreon or YouTube or Rumble. You can become a monthly subscriber. Also, Rumble rants and super chats. So there's that. But yeah, thank you for being here. And we'll see what the news cycle gives us for tomorrow. There's a lot of dark stuff, and I had to hold stuff back on today's show. Yeah, Marion, there's a lot of horrible people out there. There's a lot of horrible people out there. Lake Leon, crazy-ass evil people, yes. But if you're watching this show, I don't think you're one of them. Well, except for you-know-who. We have a couple of trolls that give us problems from time to time. But we'll be back tomorrow, unpacking it more. Stay tuned. Maybe, I don't know, maybe aiming for Thursday or Friday for our Strictly Football program. Mike Barra, Jim Mitchell, Ezra L. Robinson. Covering Super Bowl week. Browns have hired Todd Monken. I think all of the head coaching positions are just about filled now. And we're going to be gearing up for Seahawks and Patriots. So stay tuned for that. All right. I'm going to tap out for now. This one took a little bit out of me, and I was praying for discernment and some boundaries and barriers to protect me from all this just horrible, horrible, horrible shit in the news. Did the best I can today. Sorry I couldn't find you more humorous moments, but we'll try to get you some more tomorrow. All right. Yeah, trolls or views. You're right, Lake Leon. If the way to hate watch me means that I get advertising revenue, so be it. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Until next time. I can't do a peace sign because I'm holding a cup. Peace.
your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.